Greetings, class. My name is Shafine Smith, and I am going to be discussing what constitutes a successful organizational structure in higher education and how organizational culture facilitates or hinders that success. So let's go ahead and introduce you to what an organizational structure in higher education looks like. So a strong organizational structure in higher education, it has clear roles, it has good communication and flexibility. Like any institution dealing with children, we have to be able to adapt. The culture of this institution is also important because it can help or it can get in the way of reaching goals and supporting student success. So defining what a successful organizational structure looks like to me would be number one, a clear hierarchy, which is just being able to tell me what your roles are, what the jobs are, defining the responsibilities, roles and responsibilities. A successful organizational structure in higher education is characterized by a clear hierarchy where roles and responsibilities are well defined. This clarity enables efficient decision making and accountability, ensuring that all members understand their contributions to institutional goals. Very important. The second thing, like we talked about earlier, is being flexible. We have to be able to adapt to change because one thing that's constant in education is change. Flexible organizational structures help institutions adapt to changing educational needs, which we know educational needs are constantly changing, and support diverse students and foster continuous improvement. Collaboration is key. We always want to encourage teamwork. Working together across departments helps people share information and resources, which makes problem solving so much easier. They say two heads is better than one. A teamwork-focused culture improves learning and builds a stronger sense of community, helping everyone work towards the same goals. And for some reason, it stopped presenting. All right. So some key components of effective organizational structure, which some of them we already touched on, but we're just going to elaborate. And I got this from our article that was uploaded. I think it was called Governance Framework. So the first one is the framework, clear accountability. That's defining those roles, that hierarchy. Academic leadership. We definitely have to be making sure our leaders are feeling supported and empowered as well. And that's all faculty, not just the administration. Support services. This is key because it's integral to our success. We have so many different students from all different walks of life and so many diverse learning needs that we have to be able to support and modify to meet students where they are. And then we've got interdepartmental collaboration, which is also super key, vital for success because we have to know what our neighbors are doing. We all belong to the same academic community. We have to collaborate. We have to work together so that we're all on the same page. And then we've got feedback mechanisms, which is super important because if we don't know how well we're doing and we're not providing suggestions, how can we see improvement? So it's very good to give feedback and open the floor just to be able to make suggestions and just more effective practices in general. So we've got the role of leadership in organizational structure. A successful organizational structure in higher education requires a clear hierarchy that defines roles and responsibilities while remaining adaptable to change. It fosters collaboration across departments, promoting a unified approach to student needs. And then we've got the impact of that culture. So the culture of a university strongly affects how well it works. A positive culture encourages teamwork and new ideas, while a negative one blocks communication and progress. And we know that to be true with any setting or environment that we're in. Knowing the culture helps leaders make decisions that match the institution's goals and values. So understanding that culture, same slides. Click on from that. All right, so how culture influences organizational success. Well, we know that clear communication and defined roles are essential for success with any relationships. In colleges and universities, an effective organizational structure has clear communication, well-defined roles, and a flexible hierarchy. And this setup enables quick decisions and encourages faculty and staff to work together and create a supportive environment for both students and employees. So basically all the same things we've been saying. And then positive culture drives engagement. You have to feel comfortable in your learning environment. That's just like classroom management all around. A healthy organizational culture boosts employee involvement, which is key to keeping staff and improving performance. When faculty and staff feel appreciated and included, they are more dedicated to the institution, which benefits students in their success. So that's just things like Teacher Appreciation Week, when administrators bring in all these gifts and just, nice little amenities to show the educators that they care. Fostering innovation through culture. So a culture that values innovation supports trying new ideas and finding creative solutions. In colleges and universities, this means being willing to adopt new teaching methods, update courses, and improve administrative processes to enhance learning and increase student satisfaction. Now, this one is a big one because everyone's not super open to new practices, but the number one thing that's always constant in when it comes to education is change. So we do have to be willing to adapt and to learn new things. I know one time I just mastered a software program and they implemented a brand new one the very next year. And as frustrating as it was to have to learn a whole new system, it was so much more effective than the old system. Once I mastered it, it made my life so much easier. So just being open to innovation is super important. Here are some of the cultural challenges we face in higher education, and understanding these obstacles help you to understand what prevents higher education institutions from thriving. So 60% is resistance to change. So that's what I was just discussing about, like educators not wanting to learn the new material or new software programs or whatever the new strategy is. It's always kind of difficult when we're first rolling it out. And that is what causes a lot of challenges with higher education as well. 45% of it is lack of communication. Again, like every relationship, communication is super high, of super high importance. And it says almost half of the staff members feel uninformed, highlighting communication breakdowns that can hinder organizational effectiveness. So yeah, if you're losing the morale of your staff, definitely that's going to play a role and spill over into the students as well. 70% will be isolated departments. So many departments work mostly on their own, which limits the collaboration. It reduces innovation, and it makes it harder for us to solve problems effectively. That's the whole point of the working together system. It helps us to create strategies more seamlessly. And that pretty much concludes my discussion. A strong organizational structure in higher education combines clear roles, flexibility, and teamwork. And equally important to that is a positive culture, which boosts engagement, innovation, and student success. So just to wrap up, when structure and culture work together, institutions can achieve their goals and create a thriving learning environment. So thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope you enjoyed.